The year was 1995. A once thriving hub of human movement fell silent. Stapleton International Airport, for decades the beating heart of Denver's connection to the world, was eerily quiet. The last plane had departed. The bustling concourses, which once echoed with the hurried footsteps of millions of travelers, were now empty. The departure boards, once a kaleidoscope of destinations, displayed nothing. This massive piece of city infrastructure, a place of goodbyes and hellos, was simply abandoned. It's a shocking thought. A city spending billions to build an airport, only to walk away from it. Why did this happen? It's a story about growth, problems, and a staggering price tag. It all started so simply, back in 1929. It wasn't a sprawling international hub. It was just Denver Municipal Airport, a modest airfield on the city's edge. It was a time of leather helmets, propeller planes. The vision was straightforward: connect Denver to the growing world of aviation. Mayor Benjamin F. Stapleton championed the project. The airport would later bear his name. In its early days, it was a symbol of civic pride and forward thinking. Through the decades, as aviation boomed, so did Stapleton. Planes got bigger, planes got faster, planes became more numerous. Stapleton had to keep up. Runways were lengthened, new terminals were built. The airport expanded piece by piece. By the 1960s and 70s, it was a major hub for airlines like United and Continental. Millions passed through each year, a powerful economic engine. One of the most glaring problems was a simple lack of space. Stapleton was landlocked, an island of asphalt in a sea of suburbs. By the 1980s, the airport was handling far more traffic than it was ever designed for. Its runways were too close together. This created a huge bottleneck. During bad weather, like Denver's frequent snowstorms or windy days, the airport's capacity would plummet. Only one runway could be used at a time, leading to massive delays that rippled across the entire country. The airport that was supposed to connect the nation was often the source of its travel headaches. The tight runway configuration wasn't just inefficient, it was a growing safety concern. Aviation experts worried about the close proximity of landing and departing aircraft, especially with the rise of jumbo jets. There was simply no room to build new, safer runways spaced farther apart. The terminals were crowded, the gates were constantly full, access roads were choked with traffic. The airlines were losing money every time planes waited for a gate or for takeoff clearance. They needed a more reliable, more efficient hub. Stapleton's limits were holding back not just the airport but the regional economy. The airport had hit a wall, both literally and figuratively. For the people living near Stapleton, the biggest problem wasn't delays, it was the noise, an unending, inescapable roar. Jet engines screaming at all hours of the day and night. Imagine trying to have a conversation in your backyard as a Boeing 727 thunders overhead. Picture a teacher conducting class while windows rattle from a departing DC-10. This was daily life for tens of thousands in Park Hill, Stapleton, and Montbello. The health and quality of life impacts were significant. Stress, sleep deprivation, learning difficulties in children. People couldn't open windows on summer evenings. Barbecues were punctuated by deafening interruptions. Community groups formed. Protests were organized. Lawsuits were filed. Noise abatement procedures and soundproofing helped, but they were just bandages on a massive wound. A major international airport was operating right on top of dense neighborhoods. The complaints were too loud to ignore. City leaders were caught between economic importance and citizens' well-being. The noise became a political statement, the sound of a city outgrowing its own infrastructure. It was the sound that ultimately sealed Stapleton's fate. Beyond the noise and the crowding, a deeper anxiety set in: safety. As Denver grew taller and denser, flight paths that were once clear were dotted with new buildings and antennas. More obstacles for pilots to navigate, especially in Denver's unpredictable weather. The buffer between runway operations and daily life was shrinking, each new project a potential hazard. In 1987, Continental Flight 1713 crashed on takeoff during a snowstorm. 28 lives lost. Investigations cited pilot error and icing, but it underscored Stapleton's severe weather challenges. Federal standards evolved, pushing for greater runway separation for safety and efficiency. Stapleton's crisscrossing, closely spaced runways couldn't comply. To reconfigure would have meant demolishing entire neighborhoods, politically and logistically impossible. The airport was functionally obsolete by design. Proponents drew a stark choice: a constrained, risky Stapleton, or a new wide-open airport with long, wide, safely spaced runways. You couldn't put a price on human life. Yeah, it really came down to that. The city faced a monumental choice. The problems at Stapleton were undeniable, but what to do about them? One option: fix Stapleton, a massive disruptive overhaul, land acquisition, road reroutes, squeezing in a new runway. Supporters argued it'd be cheaper and faster. They wanted to save the airport that served them so long. The radical option: abandon Stapleton and build a brand new airport. Led by Mayor Federico Peña, the city scouted 53 square miles, about 25 miles northeast, a blank slate. Room for parallel runways, future expansion, and a massive buffer from neighborhoods. The debate raged and divided the city: pragmatists and preservationists versus visionaries and exhausted neighbors. Noise problems, safety problems, capacity problems, patching flay. Stapleton was a short-term fix for a long-term problem. In 1989, voters approved the new airport decisively. They chose radical change: big, expensive, and risky. The decision was made. Stapleton's days were numbered. Building a new airport from scratch is an astonishingly expensive endeavor. The project, Denver International Airport, began with an estimate around $1.7 billion. It seemed huge. Then the number started to climb, and climb, and climb. Delays, design changes, unforeseen complications. The automated baggage system, a marvel on paper, was a disaster in reality. It added months of delay and hundreds of millions to the bill. Labor disputes, harsh weather, sheer complexity. When DIA opened in February 1995, 16 months late, the final price tag was a shocking $4.8 billion, nearly 3 times the original estimate. So, who paid? Airport revenue bonds, long-term loans repaid by airport income like landing fees and concession rents, plus airline contributions, federal grants, and local taxpayer money. The public was on the hook, and the final cost created a storm of anger and scrutiny. Closing Stapleton also cost money: outstanding debt, security, maintenance, and demolition. Denver paid for 2 airports at once, one brand new and fantastically expensive, and one empty and obsolete. With Stapleton closed, the city faced 7.3 square miles of prime urban real estate, a sea of runways, empty terminals, and vacant parking lots. First, a massive cleanup. Jet fuel leaks, chemicals, de-icing fluids, years of remediation to make the land safe. Then demolition. 6 runways worth of thick concrete crushed and recycled, over 10 million tons to build new streets. One icon remained: the old control tower. In its place rose a mixed-use neighborhood with parks and greenways along former runways. New streets, schools, shops, offices, and thousands of homes. Where planes once roared, kids now play. Success, but with significant new infrastructure costs too. The story of Stapleton's closure is a lesson in a city's life cycle. Needs change. Technology evolves. Yesterday's solution can become today's problem. Abandoning Stapleton and building DIA was a massive gamble, a bet on the future paid for with stunning amounts of public and private money. Was it worth it? DIA brought capacity, safety, and efficiency, and the old land became a thriving community. But the $4.8 billion price tag left a lasting scar, raising hard questions about planning, oversight, and what else those billions could have done. The tale of Denver's 2 airports is written in the sky, but its true cost is found on the ground, in checkbooks, and in the lives of the people who call the city home.